Boy oh boy do we have a long decode today. So, back with another decode. This is going to be on the bombing of the Georgia Guidestones, the Bush family, Skull and Bones video game, and Jimmy and Rosalind Carter, former president, and his wife celebrated a fitting anniversary. We'll get to that, but yeah, there's a lot more. To start off, the Georgia Guidestones were off Highway 77 on Guidestone Road, and Guidestone Road is a phrase equating to 77. Georgia Guidestones can, think about the two G's. G's big in masonry, they have a G in the middle of their compass. G the seventh letter, therefore Georgia Guidestones GG translates to 77. The phrase state of Georgia equals 77. United States equals 77. Book of Revelation, 77. And the Skull and Bones video game was having its gameplay revealed on the very day, or the next day after the Guidestones were bombed on 7/7. Of course, Skull and Bones is Secret Society 77. And a couple of news posts made sure to emphasize or describe that the Guidestones were satanic, a word equating to 67, state of Georgia 67, and the bombing happened a span of 67 days after the Illuminati's birthday, or you could say it happened 67 days after the Church of Satan's birthday, because Church of Satan, their birthday is one day before the Illuminati's, and that's by design. And the Guidestones' last birthday on a date with Numerology of 67, their 42nd birthday, their last birthday we'll get to. And the date this happened on 7/6, but can be written in other parts of the world, in most parts of the world, written 6/7, like 67. The Illuminati was for the Age of Reason, a phrase equating to 67, which is exactly what R.C. Christian, who we'll get into, but for a little background on him, he was the one who put the Guidestones, or wanted the Guidestones up, basically set it all up and made it happen. Yeah, R.C. Christian was for this Age of Reason. And like I said, the Age of Reason, 67. In addition, you'll see throughout this decode how the Guidestones are synced up with the Bush family. The Bush family equals 67. The Guidestones' last birthday was on a date with 47 Numerology, Beast, Saturnian Beast, Time, Judge, Time is the Judge, and Christian. All those words equal 47. And the Guidestones opened a span of 47 days before R.C. Christian's birthday. And the anniversary of a song named The Devil Went Down to Georgia was a span of 47 days before Charlie Daniels' death. The singer of this song, which would later be the day the Guidestones were destroyed. Charlie Daniels' death on 7/6, 2 years before the Guidestones were destroyed. The Guidestones were destroyed 106 days after its birthday, its last birthday. Destroy equals 106. Contrive, staged, and prophecy all equal 106. And, most prophecy people talk about and all this stuff is scripted by man. The man who wanted the Guidestones built, named Robert C. Christian, whose name equals 106, and he wanted them built to represent the Age of Reason, like I said. Age of Reason, 106. And some say he was a member of the Rosicrucians, and the phrase the Rosicrucian Order 106. The bombing took place on George Bush's birthday, who was in Skull and Bones, but this took place a span of 107 days after the Guidestones' birthday. The Georgia Guidestones 107 and George Bush 107. George W. Bush, turned 76 on the day the Guidestones were bombed. He turned 76 on 7/6. I mean, that's just crazy. And like I said, it's in Skull and Bones 76. The phrase the Skull and Crossbones, because that's what they've also been referred to, the Skull and Crossbones. The Skull and Crossbones 76. As this was a bombing, bomb equals 76, destroy monument 76, the mark 76, as in the mark of the beast. Of course, the US and Illuminati both established in 1776. I think in the Francis Bacon cipher, America equals 76 with a capital A. And like I said, Charlie Daniels wrote The Devil Went Down to Georgia. He died on 7/6, 2 years before the Guidestones were bombed. And his birthday Charlie Daniels' birthday was 7 months and 6 days after the Guidestones were opened. Crazy. R.C. Christian, the one who wanted the Guidestones built, R.C. Christian equals 76. Furthermore, this bombing came 7 months and 6 days after the death anniversary of George H.W. Bush, Skull and Bones member and father of George W. Bush, the one whose birthday who turned 76 on 7/6, the very day the Guidestones were bombed. This bombing came a span of 7 months and 6 days before the birthday of Jeb Bush, who is a member of the Bush family. And Jeb Bush's birthday is the same day in history that the Vatican became a city-state, February 11th. So, syncing up with that as well. Jimmy Carter, former president, or his real first name, James Carter. And James Carter equals 76. He was the president when the Georgia Guidestones opened. And before he became president, he was the 76th governor of Georgia. And he was born in Georgia, currently lives there. He'll probably die ritualistically connected to this. But they sync him and his wife up as the day after the Guidestones were bombed. Jimmy Carter and his wife celebrated their 76th wedding anniversary. I mean, it's just crazy. And they literally got married the very day after George W. Bush was born. On top of all that, Prescott Bush was George H.W. Bush's father and grandfather of George W. Bush. And Prescott Bush, whose birthday, if he was still alive, would have been a span of 7 weeks and 6 days after the opening of the Guidestones. But think about the depopulation agenda with all this, and I have a decode that goes more into this. But yeah, so think about the depopulation agenda and the CDC, which is headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. The CDC had their 76th birthday only 5 days before the Guidestones were destroyed. Because, like I've talked about in a previous video, population, the pandemic, you see, gotta be careful with my words. The Guidestones were destroyed on a date with 19 Numerology, Georgia, and bombing are a match in 3 out of the 4 base ciphers, Chaos 19, 19 years after 9/11 was when all the craziness popped off with the pandemic. It's called COVID-19. But this is why the Guidestones were 19 feet tall. This bombing happened a span of 136 days before the founder of the Illuminati's birthday. Of course, if he was still alive. The Beast equals 136 and Baphomet equals 136. The bombing came a span of 2 months and 22 days before the Jesuit order's birthday. Order out of chaos equals 222. Order out of chaos is a Jesuit and Masonic motto. Obviously not a coincidence. The Beast of Revelation equals 222. Beast alone in Satanic Gematria equals 222. Skull Bones equals 2022 in the Squares cipher. And of course, this bombing happened in 2022. In addition, this bombing happened in the time of Cancer, and the last rule on the Guidestones says, "Be not a Cancer on the earth." Gotta think, people that rule over us look at us as Cancer. Cancer zodiac equals 222. And in the King James Version of the Bible, Genesis 1:1, the first line of the Bible, of the scripture, states, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth." This line equals 222. We're living in the quote-unquote end times, in the times of Revelation, but it's leading, and this is syncing up with the new beginning coming. And it's gonna be like nothing ever seen. A lot of people aren't ready. But yeah, anyways, the end, just a new beginning. It's what's happening right now. But furthermore, Ignatius of Loyola was the first superior general of the Jesuits, founder of the Jesuits, Society of Jesus. Superior general is a phrase that equals 222. And I'll talk about this more later. And the bombing happened 22 weeks and 2 days into the Year of the Tiger. And the Year of the Tiger, the Chinese New Year, there's been all sorts of stuff syncing up with the Year of the Tiger. The Guidestones have been called America's Stonehenge, a phrase equating to 181. Guidestone bombing equals 181, which happened on July the 6th. July the 6th. Phrase equating to 181. Apocalypse of John 181. Book of Revelation is also called the Apocalypse of John. And 181 is the 42nd prime number. The Guidestones were a megalith structure, megalith 42, as it was a bombing explosion 42. George W. Bush was the 42nd person to be president. Count is messed up because of Grover Cleveland, who had split terms. He was the 22nd president and the 24th president. And this monument was destroyed 42 years after it was opened. New World equals 42, as we are in the time of Revelation, like I said, which is not the end, but a new beginning. And there are 42 generations of Jesus, and the beast, of course, in Revelation is allowed to rule for 42 months. The beast mark, Saturn, Saturnia, beast, Jesuit, and Freemason all equal 42. The Vatican, this is why the Vatican became a city-state on the 42nd day of the year. And Skull and Bones has been called Chapter 322, which is a phrase equating to 42. This monument, the Guidestones, opened in 1980. The United Nations, 198. And I bring this up, make this connection, because some say that they were involved with funding the Guidestones. So, and beast equals 198 in Jewish Gematria, and the phrase the Illuminati equals 198. The Guidestones were bombed 226 weeks after they opened. Beast of Bible, 226. Skull and Bones, also known as Order 322. Order 322 equals 226 in Jewish Gematria. Another bombing that connects to this number 226 is the 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center, as it was on 2/26. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting, how it synced up with that event. But continuing, the bombing of the Guidestones happened 777 days after the start of the Ignatian year on May 20th, 2020. And this Ignatian year is in tribute to the founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola, and Order out of chaos equals 777 in Jewish Gematria, America World Order 777 in Satanic Gematria, the infamous Satanist Aleister Crowley has a book titled 777. In the King James version of the Bible, Genesis, the first line of the Bible, states, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth." And this line equates to 777. It's like they're syncing up Revelation with Genesis, because how everyone says we're in the end times, it's, a new beginning is right there with it, you know what I mean? So, the founder of the Jesuits' birthday, Ignatius of Loyola, his birthday is a span of 3 months and 18 days after the bombing, and the phrase, the Beast of Revelation 3:18. The bombing happened 111 weeks after the start of the Ignatian year. The Beast of Revelation equals 111, and Mark of Beast 111. The date the Guidestones opened can be written 22/3, how it is in most parts of the world. Skull and Crossbones 223, Bavarian Order 223, as Skull and Bones is a part of the Bavarian Illuminati. Masonic 223 in Jewish Gematria. RC Christian and these secret societies were for population control. Population control, a phrase equating to 223. In addition, like I said, RC Christian was claimed by some to be a member of the Rosicrucians. The phrase the Rosicrucians equals 223, and the Rosicrucian Order equals 223. The Guidestones were demolished 223 days after the birthday of Jenna Bush, who is the daughter of George W. Bush. Like I said, it's all synced up with the Bush family. And Good Book equals 223. The Bible is called the Good Book. One of the most popular lines in the Bible is, "Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast." This line equals 223. The Bible also talks about how the synagogue of Satan, the false Jews, will rule in the end times. The synagogue of Satan equals 223. Of course, the Guidestones opened on 3/22, how we write it here in America, in the US. Beast of the Holy Bible equals 322. Skull and Bones called Order 322, that's their number. It's an occult number. And the founder of the Illuminati, who was a Jesuit, died on the 322nd day of the year, and which is November 18th, and that's why it's known as Occult Day. George H.W. Bush died 3 months and 22 days before the birthday of the Guidestones. The full name of Guidestone Road is Guidestone Road Northwest, and this phrase equals 322. The Georgia colony was also called the Province of Georgia, a phrase that equals 322 as well. And before the Guidestones were bombed, there was news of an assassination plot on George W. Bush, which broke 322 days after his own birthday. But recall how I was talking about Jimmy Carter, and he became president 3 years, 2 months, and 2 days before the Guidestones opened. Unreal. It's Genesis 3:22 that talks about knowing good and evil. But yeah, knowing good and evil is what makes man like God, and the phrase knowing good and evil equals 201. This bombing happened 201 days after the Pope's birthday. Pope's birthday, of course, on Saturnalia. All this is synced with Saturn, which is the beast, the devil, Satan, Kronos, all these different names for the epitome of evil concept, right? The phrases, the beast mark, Saturnia beast, the Revelation beast, the Antichrist beast, the Holy Bible, the Book of God, the Jesuit Order, Order of Illuminati, skull crossbones, and the skull in crossbones all equal 201. Also, the Guidestones opened a span of 201 days before the death anniversary of Prescott Bush. Prescott Bush, the grandfather of George W. Bush and father of George H.W. Bush. The Guidestones' last birthday came 201 months after R.C. Christian died, who, according to this video, was really Dr. Herbert Kirsten. Kirsten is an archaic name of Christian. But yeah, so for more info on this, watch what I have linked. The bombing happened on the 187th day of the year, 187 weeks after George H.W. Bush's death. Society of Jesus 187, Skull and Bones, also called the Brotherhood of Death, 187. Bones equals 187 in Jewish Gematria. Skull and Bones, they're known as Bonesmen. That was all I had to say. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm out. Peace.